Hi guys, I'm going to talk to you today about why we should ban pharmaceutical opioids and why they should not be distributed among the U.S. citizens. Pharmaceutical opioids are chronic pain relievers and very addictive and abusive. About 1 in 4 people, or 25%, of people who take pharmaceutical opioids have become addicted to them and basically abuse their drugs because they think that their pain is still there. The reason I'm doing this is because the basic deaths since 2000 have risen by 200% from opioid overdoses. The main problem with the opioids is they're moderately strong painkillers, and the doctors don't know between overprescribing the person or not giving them enough to help their pain. Opioids are pills listed under the following names of hydrocodone, oxycodone, or Oxycontin or Percocet, morphine and fentanyl shots at the doctor's office and stuff, which morphine and fentanyl are stronger, and that's why you have to go to the doctor to get them. But you can get them in the pill form too. The history of opiate-derived drugs is basically they were being manufactured and distributed among the U.S. in the first place up until the Anti-Heroin Act of 1924. So the question I ask, we ban heroin for the reasons of overdoses and deaths and it being addictive and stuff. So why are we still giving people the opiate-derived prescriptions if they're addictive and can kill you? So depending on the person, it has very many answers. I've asked a couple people, but my own opinion, I think they should be declared banned and illegal because of the 1924 Act, and that's just some of the history and reasons I think they should be outlawed in the United States. I'm also going to give you some tips on helping with the struggle of opiate addiction. And if you know someone or have a loved one you care about that is addicted to opioids, you need to try to help them by seeking an addiction specialist or the nearest rehab center. Addiction can't be fought by a single person. They need an environment and help where none of the drugs they were using in their environment. So the first thing you can do is try to do it yourself maybe, but it's best just to go to a rehab facility and find them a doctor or a personal specialist to take them weekly and talk to them about why they use the drug. If prescribed, they shouldn't be prescribed them anymore, and you should find their personal doctor, just the regular doctor, and tell the doctor not to give them the drug or there's marks they can put on records to where they can't prescribe them no more. You can also just basically talk to them, like the weekly thing, and find out why they're abused to the drug, and eventually you can put them in a detox. It usually takes about 6 months to 1 year, depending on the person. Basically, you slowly take away the drug until they're not using it at all, and then you tell their doctor not to prescribe them anymore. And by the time this is done, the person may or may not be free of addiction, but it just depends on that person personally. Depends on what they want to do. If they want to keep on using the drug and they don't want to quit, then you're probably not going to change their mind, except for maybe a little bit. But once they get back out, they'll just go right back to it. But if the person's mindset is, let's say, they want to quit and they're ready to quit and they want to get it done, then it will be really easy to get them off of the drugs. Um, so that's about all I have there. My last thing that I'm going to talk about is like the federal responses and what the federal government is going to do about the problem. Basically, there's these uh, PDMSs, they're prescription drug monitoring systems, and basically it's just a file where they organize everybody who goes to that specific place and list their drugs and what they do and how much they take, and just list all their stuff. And if they have problems, they give, like, they have to find different ways of giving people the stuff they need. And they, I think all states have them. I'm not for sure. I did look it up and it said they didn't have them, but I didn't like go into detail. I just looked on a few, like 2 or 3 sites. So I don't think there's not one state that doesn't have the PDMSs. I think they all have them. Uh, Basically, another thing states are doing, there were 6 states in 2017 that declared a state of emergency due to the opioid usage and deaths in the state. Uh, those 6 states are Maryland, Massachusetts, Alaska, Arizona, Virginia, and Florida. And another one I think should be on here. I think they did. I'm not for sure, but I think Pennsylvania did, because like they had 16 deaths a day from the opioid abuse and addiction. The last thing the states are doing is telling people through like the news, a commercial, personal experiences on news stories, the paper, like the newspaper, uh, and basically just everything they can. Like last night, I seen a commercial about opioid abuse and how you should take somebody to an addiction specialist to help them out. But those are just some tips on how we are fighting the epidemic ourselves. And it's not exactly working, obviously. I mean, it is a little bit, but not really. But I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you got something from this. Informed you on the history of how it got into the U.S., basically, and what it was used for. I also helped you try to help somebody else with their addiction, at least a proper way. The last thing I did talk about was how we are fighting it. So I hope you learned something. Have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you later.